Yeah.
What's
What
the
is
best?
the life, I'm sorry, what is the life of the project?
I'm sorry, could you give your name, please?
Ruth Max Schultz in the butter on the other side of the restaurant.
Yes,
Can
hi
you give
Ruth.
me your address?
And then, what's your address, Ruth?
17 Taft Street.
Thank you.
So this,
I asked what the life of the project was.
yeah, so it's a 20-year, typically 20 years, and then 5 and 5 would be extensions of the project. These guys will own this, so they don't really have a lease. But a typical solar lease is 20 years with 2 5-year extensions. But since they own it, there is no lease. They'll keep it there for probably 20, 25 years.
Dave Mesher, 11 Gardner Lane.
Hi, Dave.
How are you? Question, to get the collection to the service area across the street, what's the best way conduit?
So the interconnection's probably gonna happen right here in the right of way up on top of the hill. So there won't be any wires or extra infrastructure going back to the service yard. They're actually gonna tie into, there's a distribution circuit that runs through here. This is this one right here, here's one right here. Not all, some of these are high voltage transmission, which you don't ever tie into.
240,000.
Right, and some of them are distribution in here. So we're going to tie into one of the distribution circuits that emits from the substation and transfers power throughout Ayer. We'll tap into one of those lines in that circuit up there on the hill.
Can you cross 2A?
No, we'll tap right in there.
Oh, you
Yeah,
inject right
like
there.
literally like right here.
Okay.
We're literally going to tap in right here.
So you'll have switchgear and disconnects right there.
There'll be taps. There'll be switch gear, a medium voltage switch, so
Yeah.
a 48,000 volt switch.
Yeah.
Will live here, and then there'll be an underground line coming over here. Actually, an underground line to here. They rise up, and they'll tie in right here.
You'll
And
have rectifiers in there with the switchgear. Is that what this is?
This medium voltage switch here will have SEL relay
Yeah,
switches
okay.
in it. It's basically an oil-filled switch. It's got automatic transfer, so it can go back on or off automatically, remotely. There'll be cameras, so that's on the site, so that you can see what's around the switch in case it was ever opened back up without actually going out to physically look at the switch. So that way they visualize what's around the switch before they throw it back on. But yeah, this would be a pad-mounted 48,000 kV switch.
You're working with other communities. I know you're working with Shirley,
We are, yep.
and how's that going?
It's approved and it's going to be built.
All right. Now, and I talked to someone there that you didn't have any zoning issues there.
No,
No. Okay. Do you know
No.
what the zoning designation of the site was?
residential.
Okay. So something worked out there that's not quite working here, and maybe that's what we need to figure out.
Right. So I mean, we kind of went with the premise that we felt that the utility, since it's utility owned,
Yes.
and it's a utility owned, there's no service yard here per se, like there is in a switch yard or a transmission yard. It's simply a solar system with an inverter, and it's got your wires going out, which are tapping onto an existing circuit. We thought the use was applicable the way it was described. I agree with the way it was applied for was maybe misleading. It sounded like we were going to own it, when in actuality maybe should have been National Grid that applied for the permit instead of Borrego Solar. But the way that National Grid put out their RFP, they wanted the construction company to have responsibility for the projects until National Grid was ready to take them over. So they didn't want to have responsibility for the project until they accept that it was built correctly, and then they assume ownership.
So you're a turnkey developer until...
We're a turnkey developer until they take ownership, but they will certainly apply and take ownership before, in this case, in order to build this project. They really want to do this project on their own land, obviously for many
Makes
different
lots of
reasons. It's on their land, they don't have to pay a lease, it's a good site, it's in the transmission line already. It's a pretty good location overall. I mean, I've seen solar sites go in some other spots where it's questionable. I don't think that this is a site that's going to impact too many folks I think it's really going to be unseen pretty much for the most part up there. There can be some screening done to make sure that it's really unseen. It's a pretty good location. It's close to where it's going to tie in.
All right.
I think you might have some.
Sure.
Actually, the lady in the purple, she's been here every meeting.
I've lived on Jonathan Drive for 50 years this year.
Okay.
What's your name, ma'am?
Sally Fuller.
Hi, Sally.
Nice to meet you.
I don't. Nice to meet you too. I don't know where Jonathan Drive is. Can you orient
I have a map right here, I can show you.
Keep going to the left.
On the left peak.
Okay.
up here?
Well,
for
no,
the-
keep going straight to the left. Straight
Maybe
So just based on this up here,
There's
there's
Gardner Lane, and then there's Jonathan
let's
Drive.
go with
Okay.
the other map.
so there's I know what you're talking about. There's some property like right over here. You can see it there.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway,
what can I answer?
What I'm concerned about is, I know I came into the DPW town office here, and they gave me a few maps. There are natural springs that run through that land. And in 50 years, I've heard a lot of stories from a lot of people that, have been on boards and everything. And to my knowledge, National Grid does not own all of that property that we're looking at from Jonathan Drive, or these people are looking at for Gardner Lane,
no,
unless it's been
this is the
sold
National Grid
recently.
property, right? So there is a gap. There is some land there that,
There is, but we're on the parcel that we're on, and we're trying to permit. They fully own that property. We're not on somebody else's property. We're completely on National Grid
Going
owned
back to the
property.
streams, I'd have to check that out, but
Yeah. I mean, this has been
They-
surveyed and
the water-
delineated.
The water
page.
situation.
They measure 11 Gardner
And
Lane.
here's the water problem also. There are two streams that run through that lot and have been there since I lived there, 50 years now. The state comes and watches those streams because they spray for mosquitoes, they want it to keep flowing. I was told many years ago that nothing would go in back there unless two bridges were built over those streams. You cannot build a road through that stream. What's going to happen with the water that runs from Jonathan Drive to Victor Drive to Woods' Pond?
can I interrupt?
Yes.
Are you already in front of conservation on this?
We have, and in fact, we're going to be issued an order of conditions on Thursday.
Okay, so you
So
succeeded.
we've completely gone through Conservation Commission already. We've provided a stormwater study,
Yep.
which shows that we won't affect the water stream with the construction project. We've gone through natural heritage for the endangered species that are listed for the site. There's the spotted salamander, there's the Blanding's turtle, and then there's a flower, it's the blazing star. We've been confirmed, and in fact, we hired a consultant from Oxbow, which, if you all know Oxbow, they're experts. They've actually walked the site and determined that we have a good site and we will not impact. They've had a few special conditions they've added to the order of conditions from the Concom committee. So we're going to follow those as well, and simply what they were is to make sure the fences stay up 6 inches off the ground to allow the turtles and the salamanders to go underneath and cross through. And then as far as the plant goes, there was a negative determination that we would have any impact on the plant.
My concern is the water, because I live on Jonathan Drive, the center of Jonathan Drive, the highest house on the street.
Mhm.
I had more water in my cellar the year after I bought that house, and I put
Okay.
thousands of dollars into keeping that basement dry. When you do the landscaping for this project, say it went, which way will the runoff go?
Oh, I see where you're going. Okay, I was trying
You
to
know,
figure out
is it gonna go
what's the
this
problem with
way,
the
or
water.
is it gonna
So
go
when we apply to Concom, we have to fill out what's called a stormwater prevention plan. So that basically takes these grades into effect, and it shows you which way the watershed goes. And we have to prove to the state that when we do our construction, that if we're going to change the watershed that exists there today, then we have to make appropriations for it. We've done the proper calculations to show the Concom, the Conservation Committee, that the watershed has been handled correctly. And in fact, we don't even need to build any storm drains. We're not going to be doing any grading here per se. We're simply clearing and then smoothing out the grade that exists there today. So there's not going to be a change from the watershed that exists today. We're not going to make a big change. And this is simply going to be grass surface under here. So the existing water, the way it moves today, it'll happen the same exact way that it's happening today.
Dave Messer again, because the site is very nice because it's a natural grade facing the sun, going towards the high tension wires and everything like that. If you take all the foliage and trees out and you put your construction plan together, and even if you have grass or something like that, you are going to create something on the other side as well. My major concern is exactly what Sal was bringing up, is the wetlands closer to you on that map, where
Over
Shadow Lane
Mhm.
enters from 2A,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some Gardner Apartments in Gardner Lane. The whole side of our street has wetlands behind the houses. And when they put Shadow Lane in, this is history, it doesn't
Mhm.
involve you, but it
I've walked
it
back
doesn't
there. I
do
know
it.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a wet area.
Shadow
Looks like
Lane was all
sometimes it's
wetlands. And in fact, it used to fill up near what you call the transfer on the other side of 2A. And the bank, where the bank is, was all wet when we first moved in there. It's 22 years ago. When Shadow Lane went in, we hear the same thing. Hey, we have planning, everything's great, don't worry about it, there'll be special drains to the road, we'll be fine.
Mhm.
Well, 2 years after the Shadow Lane one, every single one of my neighbors and myself never had water before, water in the basement.
Right,
Every spring.
I just,
I know that's a different,
right, it's not
Right.
a zoning issue, and from my understanding is it's been through Conscom. How many times have you been in front of Conscom?
Twice.
Twice.
And they've walked the site.
They've walked-
And I mean, we've been
You've had
through
public
them.
hearings.
What's that?
You've had public hearings,
Yes.
yes, which were in the paper. So that, I mean, I don't want to be,
well, I understand.
yeah, I can't, we're discussing the zoning issue and your water issues. I assume, and Conscom's good, I assume this has all come up. I don't, I have the paperwork in front of me. I haven't looked at the drainage plans or anything, but
So the
you can see it.
hydrological-
Conscom meetings are online if you want to catch the ones that maybe this discussion has been had and the issue's been solved. I can't tell you. You can contact Conscom though. We are gonna, we want to get out of here by 1:15 for the Board of Selectmen meeting, so why don't we, lady in yellow?
I just have a simple yes or no question.
Okay, what was your
Amy
name?
Messer, 11 Garden Lane.
How do you spell your last name?
Messcher.
Okay, thanks.
So the question is, you say there's land abutting in between the backs of our houses on Gardner Lane and Jonathan Drive to what National Grid owns. You also say that you've already taken into consideration the flow of the water. Can we, as residents that abut this land, get a copy that says what you're saying? Because I don't know you from a hole in the wall, and
Yeah.
I know that my house has been there for 21 years, 50 years. I need something concrete that says you've done your job.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's a full, in the Concom submission, and in, I think,
Stormwater management? Yep.
yeah, there's a stormwater management plan, and it has all the calculations and the hydrology
So
that,
where can we get that? Where can we access
it
it?
should be available at the,
In the town clerk's office.
So just go to the town clerk's office?
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
Yep.
and
It's a
just.
lot of paper.
It's a lot of paper, and it's simply what they do is they look at the contours of the land here, and then they basically, this is how they basically mathematically try to figure it out. What type of land is it existing? What is it going to become? I.e., right now it's forest mixed with open land. It's going to become all open land with grass cover. So each one of those has a drainage coefficient. And then they say, all right, how steep are the grades and what is the drainage coefficient? And they do the mathematics to figure out how much the water is going to flow in which direction. And then they do that based upon the existing conditions and on the new conditions. And if there was any water movement through the calculations that was greater than acceptable levels, they would ask us to put in special constructive like canals, swales, retention ponds, to hold that water so that it wouldn't go to other places if it was going to create a flood or erosion control measures. So we've presented them with our calculations, which are certified and stamped by a professional engineer in the state of Massachusetts. They review those, third party reviews them, hired by the town that is a professional engineer to make sure that our calculations are correct, and then they approve it. So it's been through basically 2 licensed professional engineers in Massachusetts that agree that the calculations are correct and that we didn't need any stormwater protection here, else they would have asked us to put it in. This project should not, I'm not an engineer, but it should not change the water flow of this location. And being all grass versus forest, there's not much of a difference in coefficient. In fact, if anything, it'll dry up faster than it will if it's forest versus an open pasture. It'll dry quicker than it would if it was a forest. I hope that answers it somewhat.
I think we could do 2 more questions real quick.
Hector Kramer, 18 Gardner Lane, and it's a quick question, the fence that you're putting up, what type of fence is that gonna be? Well, and basically, what are the concealment?
So it's National Grid's standard operating procedure is an 8-foot chain link. I think it's number 2 mesh with a 1-inch screen. So that's, basically it's the really tight mesh. It's 1-inch mesh instead of 2-inch like a normal chain link fence. And it's 8 feet tall, no barbed wire. And it'll be raised, I believe, 6 inches off the ground all the way around the perimeter and at the gates to allow the turtles and salamanders to pass underneath.
Now, in Shirley, they put, there's I forget the name of the road, but there's one of these types of
Yes.
parks over there. And they put things in the fence that basically block the view.
Slats, yeah, like plastic slats.
Right.
Yep, that's not National Grid's standard policy to do that. Is there a reason why you would want that?
Yeah, because his house, the house next to him, the house next to him, and my house, that's all we're gonna see out of our backyard.
Okay.
The woods aren't that thick there. I
So-
see the trailer
Because of
park.
the wetlands.
We can see the trailer park through there.
Okay, so what we can possibly do there, and National Grid is all about being a good neighbor, is we can put some plantings up as well. I don't know if they like the plastic and the fence. Personally, we've tried that, and it's not really a good lifelong fix. It falls apart. Plastic degrades. They'd probably be more on board with planting something like vegetation
Yeah, we're doing
especially if
anything.
you're on the north side. The vegetation is an easy fix because we can actually go really tall and block that right there quickly because we're not worried about the shade. On the southern side, that becomes a concern because we don't want to shade the system. So, then we have to be careful how tall we can provide screening. But National Grid has told us that they want to provide screening away from residences or places where they want the view blocked. We can actually, when we resubmit, or we'll ask for a continuation here, we can add that into the next set of plans and put some screening up
That'd be
around
great.
there.
That's very we got a crowd forming, so we're out of time. February 11th is our continuation, is that right? Come on back. We will advertise that. I need a motion to end this meeting.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Sorry?
Wait, I thought that we weren't sure if we're having a continuation or not.
Well, we already voted, we did vote that if we do not get the notice that allows us to continue the hearing by tomorrow, then it'll be a rejection.
Yes.
All right?
Do you want to do those minutes or do you want to wait?
Did everyone look at the draft minutes?
Yep.
Yes,
Does everyone agree to them?
Yes.
I motion that we approve the minutes
but it's his draft.
of
I have a blank one for you.
January 14th, 2015. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No. Again, I had a motion to adjourn.
I did.
You did. We got a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.